What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000 and today we're back for another action figure review. Today we're taking a look at the G.I. Joe classified Cobra Commander. So this comes to us in Wave 2. That also comes with Gung Ho and Red Ninja, who of course I wasn't able to find, those being the more desirable figures. Cobra Commander, I think he's the most common in this wave. But I will say, looking at him in person, very clean looking figure. Pretty excited to get this guy out and to actually have a villain for the G.I. Joe team. Because as of right now, I have Duke and I have Scarlet and I have Roadblock. And you'll see those in the comparisons. But you know, I finally got a villain on pre-order. I have the Gung Ho and then the Prophet Director Destro. Those should be in somewhat soon, I hope so, in a timely manner to get a review out. But right now we're looking at Cobra Commander, who himself has a few variants already. There's a lighter blue version, and then there's also like a Supreme Commander version, which is like black and gold, and looks clean as hell, and I probably should have went for that one. But when you're in Target and you see a new toy, you gotta buy it. So that's exactly what I did for Cobra Commander, and now we're going to take a look at him. So in the box, you know, it looks the same as any other G.I. Joe classified. Him being a villain, it's done with the red background, and then up top he's got the Cobra logo. And then each G.I. Joe does have its own unique piece of artwork, and there's Cobras right there. It does wrap around on the side. And then on the back, you're just getting the usual kind of Infinity War-esque poster for the G.I. Joe classified. And I think we've gotten every character in this poster now. For me, I do still need Destro, I do still need the Baroness, and also Snake Eyes I haven't seen. And then Red Ninja, of course, as well, can't forget. And there's also all these different, like, Arctic Mission ones and the Cobra Troopers. There's a lot of figures so far, but I'm not going to be a completist with this line. There's just a little bit too much to collect. But, you know, if I see it, I'll buy it. And the ones that are really catching my eye are the ones that I'm pre-ordering. On the other side, you get what would be his, like, file card, you know, kind of his ranks and where he stands with certain combat skills and things like that. And I think we've had enough of the packaging, so let's get to it and crack open Cobra Commander. And here is Cobra Commander out of his packaging, and we'll start out with the accessories. So for this guy, you get about all you need with him. It's not the most accessories in this G.I. Joe line, but for this guy, Cobra Commander, he's not going to be so tactical. And the accessories that he does come with are very cool. So we'll start out with the interchangeable hands. So on the figure, you're getting a weapon holding hand and then kind of a splayed out, maniacally laughing hand, a clutching hand, if you will. And then in the packaging, you're getting a pointing hand, so he can point at a Cobra soldier and yell at him. And then you're also getting a fist. And then getting all those out of the way, we'll take a look at the weapons. And we'll start here with his pistol, and this thing is very ornate, very old school. You know, especially you compare it to the weapons we've seen in the G.I. Joe line. They're very futuristic. Then you go to this thing. This is like a silver flintlock looking pistol. And it's got all sorts of ornate snake detail on it. So to me, this looks like something that's like a relic, not something that's going to get a lot of action. But that being said, a very cool piece. I would have liked to seen this in gold. I think that would have looked a lot better. But that being said, still a nice piece. And it's a very good sculpt on that guy. And then we also do get a sword or a scabbard or a dagger, whatever you want to call it. It does have two different ways to grip, it seems like. There's a grip kind of in the middle of the blade, and then the more traditional hilt blade. And on that, it is actually a Cobra, which is pretty cool. That's done in gold, which I would have liked to have seen, you know, some gold on this. And then even the blade has kind of a unique shape. For Cobra Commander here, the blade can be stored in the sheath just like that. Again, this kind of looks like a flex piece, like a, you know, a regal kind of weapon. Not something, maybe he executes people with this, but it's not something that's necessarily on the battlefield. It's a very ornate, very expensive looking weapon for a guy that is, you know, for the most part behind the scenes, you know, calling the shots, but not necessarily on the battlefield. And then that leaves us with Cobra Commander. And right off the bat, the design for this figure, I think this is a perfect way how you take an old design and then you modernize it, because this still 100% is Cobra Commander. And if you showed this to anybody who was ever into G.I. Joe during any period of time, you could tell. But you do get a very clean, aesthetically pleasing figure here. Some nice silver, black, the shape of the suit and everything like that. This dude is fucking clean. You know, Cobra, they're evil, but they're evil in style. There's just something very expensive and very regal looking about this Cobra Commander. So as we always do, we'll start out with the head sculpt on Cobra Commander, and it's a bit different in his situation because it's not really much of a head sculpt as much as it is just the silver plate as the mask and then this helmet. And I don't really have any complaints here. I think what would have been cool actually for a alternate head is if you would have included that kind of balaclava cloth head look for Cobra Commander, and the Cobra logo up top. That's, you know, a bit of an iconic look. And with the, you know, 3 or 4 different Cobra Commanders that have been released, they're all using the same body pretty much. But yeah, the head is very simple, but I think that works in its favor because you do have a lot of detail actually in the sculpt of the suit. So then when you get to the helmet, its simplicity kind of stands out. And, you know, a good silver on it, you know, it's not pearly, it's not cheap looking. It looks a little bit kind of uneven, warped, because these pieces are a bit softer plastic, but that isn't too big of a deal. It doesn't look bad at most angles. And you can see even on the back, there's some detailing on the back of the helmet, some black paint filled in there, and you get a silver stripe going up top of the helmet, and then even on the bottom of the helmet you got a nice silver deco going. Simple but detailed at the same time for the helmet. At the shoulder here we do get this kind of pauldron piece which leads into a little cape, and I usually am not a fan of these little plastic capes, but this one's so thin that it doesn't even really change the weight of the figure or even the silhouette that much. I think it does add to the figure. So in this case I do like the little plastic cape. It's got the nice red on the inside, black on the outside. And then even up top, you got all sorts of detail on these belts. There's quite a few belts wrapping around them. He's got the Cobra logo in gold there, and then, you know, silver pauldron of armor, some gold going down the shoulder armor as well. So very ornate, very regal, like I'm saying, and that moves on to the rest of the uniform here. So in the middle, he's got this kind of pleated, buttoned up shirt, and again, even the gold chain going across, very regal, gold buttons. Nice Cobra logo right in the middle there, and then you got all sorts of silver kind of pipelining, and then up on the shoulders where it's a black part, you could see that it does have kind of a mesh texture to it, a scale mail texture, and that's really good look. And you see that same texture kind of at the side of the jackets here. I guess, you know, if he were to be in battle, this is where you need a bit more armor. And speaking of which, you got the nice silver gauntlets here. These look, you know, like they're metallic, the silver outline, and then some black dull coat with the Cobra logos as well. And then even the gloves do have a little bit of texture kind of in between the fingers there, and it's pretty identical on the other arm. And then moving down to the pants, you know, you call this fatigues or something like that. You get a red stripe down the leg. Very military looking, obviously, has that same scale mail texture, but it's done in red this time. Like I've been saying this whole time, you know, this dude's evil, but he's evil in style. Got some great boots on this guy. And then down at the feet, it's got a very armored look. You know, you got some kind of layers of armor, I guess, you know, so this guy doesn't have toe articulation, but if he did, you know, these pieces would allow for that. So overall, a very clean aesthetic, probably one of the better in terms of that aesthetic for the G.I. Joe classified series. And, you know, for your main villain, or more or less your main villain, you gotta hope that he'd be imposing in his own way. But yeah, overall, a very clean aesthetic on this guy. You gotta love the look for Cobra Commander. I think even better than some of those Wave 1 heroes. I think even right after Wave 1, I think their designs improved a lot. And this guy shows it. And I'm glad that they kind of waited for Wave 2 to get Cobra Commander for that reason. Because we do end up with a very well designed and executed figure. Now to go over articulation, there is a joint at the bottom of the neck and then also on the head. It does help with articulation, but because of the way this guy is engineered and the kind of turtleneck collar that he's got going on there, he doesn't have that much of head movement in that lower neck area. That being said, he looks back decently enough, and the same could be said for forward. He doesn't really get too much tilt action. He's on a really clicky ab crunch, so he goes back that much and forward that much. So again, pretty limited there, but you know, he, like I said, he's not going to be on the battlefield. He'll be standing behind all the Cobra soldiers who articulate well enough. He does have a nice butterfly joint in the shoulder, as well as a swivel and a hinge. He's got an upper bicep cut. It's kind of an ugly cut. You know, it's one of those where it's longer on one side. It's not like a cylinder. So when you go to articulate it, it kind of breaks the sculpt up like that. I'm never really a fan of that. He does have an impressive double jointed elbow. And then he has an up and down hinge for the weapon holding fingers, and then it also does swivel on the hand. He does get a decent split, and it's not that terribly blocked by the jacket here. It does have the upper thigh cut. He's got an ugly but functional double jointed knee. And then the foot is on a hinge as well as an ankle rocker. And that about does it for your look at the Cobra Commander. And now let's get to it and do my favorite part, and let's do some comparisons. And here he is with the Wave 1 Roadblock and Scarlet. And here you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I talked about the design of the figures, because in that first wave, you know, you had a lot of colors going on, and it was bright and it was dark in some areas, so stylistically, these figures aren't as good as Cobra Commander, but this line does have a pretty good relative scale, because you got guys like Roadblock, who are kind of like, you know, big, like 6'5" dudes. Then you got Cobra Commander, who'd be more of a normal sized person. Obviously, Scarlet would be a little bit shorter. And then we can go ahead and bring in Duke, who's definitely my favorite Joe so far. And then, for the hell of it, brought in the GameStop Force Unleashed Stormtrooper. And I like how these guys look, actually. I could definitely see the Stormtroopers being helmed by Cobra Commander, especially done up in that blue color. And overall, that's going to do it for your look at the classified Cobra Commander. Overall, got to give this guy a good rating, a recommendation. I think other than Duke, he is my favorite figure so far from this line. But like I said, I got Gung Ho and I got Prophet Director Destro on pre-order. And from the looks of those are definitely going to be my favorites. In Gung Ho's case, he really does remind me of like one of the Marines in like Predator or something. So I love the look of that. And then Prophet Director Destro looks like it could be one of the most fun figures of the year. With that burning money, the golden gun, the big leopard print clothes and all that. That dude looks ridiculous, and I can't wait to get that one in my hands. Of course, when those figures do get in my hands, you'll be sure to see reviews here on the channel. If you like any other action figure reviews, you want to make sure you stay right here on the channel. As always, I'm going to leave it off with some pictures I took of the figure. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.